The pastor should be able to teach. But the teacher doesn't necessarily has to be a
preacher.
Right. Doesn't have to be. Our problem is because of the sometimes as pastors we are, God, I'm going to say this.
Elevate ourselves?
No, we are not as strong in teaching as we are in preaching. And so God sent us this person. But this person teaches and the class is just overwhelmed. And they be like, Bishop, when you gonna get Brother Scott to teach again? We really enjoyed him. Well, after about the third person tell, do you think Brother Scott gonna be teaching again? No, why? Because he's intimidated by the gift that God has given him, rather understanding that I have a gift within my congregation that can benefit my people. And see, that's the thing about it. We have a tendency to think if we don't possess all. The only person I know that I've ever read in the whole Bible who was all of this and more was Jesus. Okay? All of this and more. Us, some of it. Me, my first thing was teacher and evangelist. I was trained to be a pastor. These were my two functions. Did it for years across the country. Here, I was trained to be a pastor. So what about up here? So I have prophesied and I have spoken as an apostle. But is that my gift? No. And I've had people to give me those gifts. You know, I've had people, I was one Christmas, I was in Walmart and I was getting some stuff and the guy asked me a question and he said, Apostle, and you know me, I was looking around, I'm trying to see who he talking to. Because I'm not taking on something that God hasn't called me for. I don't see no big name because this is a gift. This is a gift to benefit. Whatever these are not things that you walk around with your chest stuck all out. It costs to be in these things. The importation of being an apostle, a prophet, evangelist, pastor, and teacher is costly. And you got to have the walk to do it. And you got to keep the integrity to go along with it. You always have to remain a base to understand it is God within you for you to do the work for the edifying of the people, not for yourself. So when you start talking about you are a teacher of the word, then teach the word, not your dogmatic doctrine. Teach the word and don't teach it from a standpoint of how you rationalize it or you think it ought to be. You got to spend time praying before the Lord because you want revelational truth. You want what God says that it is, not what you say. And you know what? That's difficult. That's difficult because sometimes we look at it and if we look at it from a standpoint of our human side. Scott brings up all the time about Abraham and Isaac. You know, how would that go today? Well, they lock you up. Well, you know, some people are trying to do that today. Devil told me to kill my children. Okay? No. Devil didn't tell you to do that. No, devil didn't tell you to do that. That was then. There's things that already have been laid out before us to give us confidence that God is capable of doing whatever he needs to do to get us into a place where he wants us to be. First of all, we have to believe in it. And that comes from teaching. Preaching gathers. Teaching make disciples. And for a long time, all we did was preach. And y'all shouted. And y'all shouted. And sweated and shouted. And then when you went home, you were not able to face with the problems that existed at home, in your community, and in your job because nobody took time to tell you the truth that even though you're saved, hard times are going to come. We were led to believe at one time, because I give my life to the Lord every day, it's going to be rosy. And everywhere I go, everybody's just going to be happy that I'm there. How many of y'all know that's not true? Amen. And you don't have to take a Bible out. You don't have to have no cross around your neck. You don't have to do anything but live the life that the Lord has laid before you, and you already work on people's nerves. You just work on people's nerves because you don't participate in what they're doing. Oh, you think you're better than me? No. no, I'm not better than you. I may be better off than you because of the fact of who resides in me, but I'm not better than you. It's the choices that I have made. But when you look at my resume and you look at how far I've come from and seen the choices that I made that were wrong to get me here, then you can appreciate my stance on how I am now. But you know what? That has to be taught. And somebody has to listen. Somebody has to listen. One of the biggest things I think we have is we don't have listeners. I mean, you got a problem. Most people can really resolve their own problem if you let them talk. But we keep cutting across because we think we got the word. You know, we cut across because we want to show, hey, I'm going to school, have my master's now. I ought to be able to address this problem. No. Hear them out first. Then you know what? When they get through talking, they're like, you know, it don't make no sense that I did that. Well, you want to say it. But you know what they need to do? They really need to realize that it doesn't make any sense. Okay? I think psychiatrists and all get good money for listening. But they listen and they listen to ear. I'm a person like this. I always try to listen to hear what you're not saying. I hear what you're saying, but I also hear what you're not saying. It's like I see the smile, but I also see the tears. I see the hurt. I see the pain. And you got to be very, very close to the Lord because the facade that we place can really hide it. And you got, how you doing? Hallelujah, glory, hallelujah. Man, things just going well. Okay. And then you pull them to the side when ain't nobody else around and say, and how things really going? Man, I don't know what I'm going to do. Okay. But what happens is because of the fact we have a tendency to feel if somebody find out that I'm going through and that I'm having hard times, that they're going to think less of me as a Christian. Well, no. You can think what you want to think. If I got hard times, I'm going to ask for some help. You have not because you ask not. Okay? What I'm finding out, how did I get in? That's what I want to know. How did I get into these hard times? Okay? Am I the reason I'm in this storm? Or a lot of storms that we're in, we didn't bring the storm on. Okay? Jonah, the sailors that were on the ship, who was responsible for the storm? Jonah was. Okay? Achan, who stole. Whose fault was that? Israel's or Achan's? Okay? So see, sometimes there's storms that come into our lives because of someone else. But the same storm that's blowing over the person is blowing you over too. So you have to be able to teach that but even in the storm, tough times don't last. They do come. They come, but they don't last. The problem is that we think when they come that we have to end it all and actually get to a point of where we think that nothing else is going to happen. So if you have the gift of teaching, if you are that teacher, then you are going to spend time preparing yourself, and you must teach what is in accord with sound doctrine, not with your own philosophy. Now, I gave y'all a sheet of paper last week that you should have. Those of you that's here. Okay.